You close your eyes, but something stays awake. Your body rests, your brain slows down. But your consciousness? It moves. Sleep isn't shutdown. It's passage. What if falling asleep means crossing dimensions? Ancient cultures believed dreams weren't fiction. They were maps. Egyptians, shamans, mystics, all said the soul leaves the body at night. And maybe they were right. Ever wake up with the feeling you just returned from somewhere? Not a memory, not a fantasy. Something realer than here. That's not confusion. That's frequency residue from where you just were. During sleep, logic dissolves and the field opens. You're not unconscious. You're tuned into another bandwidth. And the more aware you are, the more you bring back. You don't dream stories. You dream signals. And we forget. Because no one taught us to look. Have you ever seen yourself from above? Flown in a dream? Met someone who isn't alive anymore? That's not imagination. That's navigation through the invisible. The veil thins when we sleep. What rules the day fades, and frequency becomes law. Your last emotion? It's the key to where you go next. Your frequency before sleep is the address. Your emotion is the engine. The ancients knew this. Science is catching up. So, are you really sleeping? Or traveling to realms you've forgotten how to name? If your last dream suddenly feels different, hit that like button. You're going to need full awareness for what comes next. Sleep looks like silence, but inside your brain a symphony begins. Neurons don't stop and they rewire. Frequencies shift. Regions activate that remain dormant when you're awake. You're not turning off. You're tuning into something else. During REM sleep, your brain waves mimic the state of deep meditation and even near-death experiences. That's not coincidence. That's a clue. It's as if your mind steps out of time, leaving the body behind in a soft coma of restoration. What's even more fascinating? Some brain scans during REM show hyperconnectivity, networks lighting up simultaneously. Science says it's dreaming. But what if it's remembering a higher self? You're not dreaming. You're decoding another version of reality. The body sees rest, but the mind enters the back door of reality. It slips into the space where thought and matter are still negotiating what to become. That space is where the rules break, and something new emerges. Here's the twist. If consciousness were just a byproduct of the brain, why do so many report lucid experiences, visions, and spiritual encounters during sleep? Why do blind people dream in images? Why do we feel so alive in those non-places? Scientists have started calling REM sleep the paradoxical state, where brain activity is high, but the body is paralyzed. But spiritual traditions call it something else: the threshold, the place between worlds, the pause before a new page of reality. That's why some researchers, like Dr. Charles Tart and institutions like the Monroe Institute, believe sleep is more than rest. It's preparation for something, a rehearsal for the beyond, a nightly training in non-physical navigation. Sleep is not a shutdown, it's a training ground for awareness beyond the physical. The ancients didn't need machines to know this. They used intuition and dreams as oracles. You're not just resting, you're rehearsing your return to the field. That field? It's where thoughts take shape, and your focus becomes architecture. Are you starting to see the pattern? Your mind never truly sleeps. It shifts, it builds, it receives. And the more conscious you are of this, the more power you hold when the lights go out. You're about to understand how this field, this infinite ocean of potential connects directly with your mind every night, and what happens next will change how you sleep forever. Imagine if every time you fall asleep, you're not disconnecting but realigning, not escaping, but entering. What if sleep is the moment when the observer steps back and the universe finally begins to rearrange itself? In quantum physics, there's a phenomenon called wave function collapse. Reality exists in endless possibilities until something observes it. That's when it chooses a form. When you stop watching this reality, another begins to respond. Now think, when you sleep, who's observing? If your physical self is offline, then who's behind the wheel? This isn't science fiction, it's quantum mechanics. And your dreams? They're not illusions. They're collapsed realities from frequencies your soul tuned into. Sleep is not stillness, it's non-locality. Just like particles can exist in two places at once, so can you. And that's why your dreams break time. Why you meet people you've never seen. Why you fly, dissolve, teleport. Because in that state, nothing limits the observer. You don't sleep inside your body sleeps inside the field. This field? It's the quantum field, the invisible ocean where emotion becomes blueprint and attention becomes gravity. Now, what if your thoughts before bed are not just thoughts, but vectors, directional codes? The moment you fall asleep with a certain emotion, that's the key. That's the vibration that aligns you with a version of reality already waiting to receive you. In the hypnagogic state, your brain and heart sync. The ego loosens. The signal strengthens. You become a frequency, not a name, not a body, and the field responds not to your words, but to your coherence. The frequency you sleep in is the destination your consciousness travels to. You're not imagining your dreams, you're receiving them, through the same laws that govern photons and probabilities. Let's be honest, how many times have you gone to sleep feeling lost, anxious, heavy, and entered a nightmare? Now what if you could reverse that? What if sleep became your vibrational creation laboratory? So, where are you collapsing your energy tonight? Which version of you are you aligning with? Because the moment you fall asleep, your mind becomes a transmitter, and the universe is always listening. You've probably heard of people who float above their beds, watch their own bodies sleeping, and travel through unfamiliar places. Sounds crazy, right? But what if those aren't hallucinations, but reports from explorers who accidentally woke up mid-flight? This phenomenon is called out-of-body experience, OBE, and it's not new. It's been documented by monks, shamans, mystics, and modern researchers. One of the most famous, Robert Monroe, who dedicated his life to mapping what he called non-physical realities. If the body is still, but your mind is moving, where are you really? During REM sleep, many people spontaneously detach, but because no one told them what that means, they forget, they fear, or they suppress. But the moment you recognize what's happening, the experience shifts. Fear becomes curiosity. Curiosity becomes expansion. And suddenly, you're outside, time, watching yourself from above, realizing you are more than your biology. These are not just dreams. People in OBEs have accurately described distant locations, overheard real conversations, and even interacted with events far from their beds. How is this possible unless consciousness is non-local? Science can't explain it fully. But quantum mechanics hints at it. If particles can be entangled across galaxies, why not minds? If observation affects matter, why wouldn't intention affect movement? The field doesn't care if you're awake or asleep. It only cares if you're coherent. And the more lucid your emotion before sleep, the more vivid the path your energy takes. People describe sensations like floating, buzzing, sudden shifts in perspective. Some encounter guides. Others move through walls. But all agree, it feels more real than reality itself. So if you ever felt like you were somewhere else, maybe you were. And if no one believes you, that doesn't make it untrue. It just means you've gone where others haven't dared to look. And if that's possible, what else are you capable of just by closing your eyes? Your last emotion before sleep isn't harmless. It's a steering wheel. Most people fall asleep thinking about problems, fear, regrets, and then wonder why their dreams feel heavy, confusing, or chaotic. You don't dream what you want. You dream what you vibrate. This is not metaphor. It's the reality of how your emotional frequency imprints the field before the journey begins. The moment you close your eyes, your brain begins to slow, but your energy doesn't stop. It broadcasts, and whatever frequency you hold becomes your entry point to the subtle planes. the vibrational reality your mind will navigate. If you fall asleep in anger, you may visit dense realms. If you fall asleep in peace, you may touch cities of light, because the field is always listening, and you're always choosing, even when you think you're just tired. What if your emotions are not just reactions, but requests sent to the universe? And sleep is when those requests are answered, symbolically, energetically, or directly. Your intention is the address. Your emotion is the vehicle. When both are aligned, you don't just sleep. You direct consciousness to meet the message. That's why spiritual traditions teach bedtime rituals, not for superstition, but for energetic alignment. Prayers, gratitude, visualization. These are not routines. They are vibrational programming. What's more powerful, sleeping by accident or sleeping with sacred direction? This night could be the one where you remember how much control you've always had. So if energy doesn't sleep and emotion builds the path, what happens when we choose that path consciously? There's a moment before sleep when everything becomes soft, sounds blur, thoughts float, time bends. This is the hypnagogic state, and it's not just a phase, it's a portal, a crack in the system where the conscious and subconscious finally sit face to face. In that moment, your brain is between waves. Logic fades, imagination takes the wheel. It's the doorway between who you think you are and everything you could become. What you say to yourself here matters. It's the last code your system receives before diving into the field. That code, your final thought, image, or emotion, is what the subconscious will spend hours decoding as reality. That's why geniuses like Tesla and Edison used this state to ask questions and woke up with answers. They weren't lucky, they were deliberate. They programmed their wave collapse. A single sentence, felt with emotion, can rewire your trajectory while you sleep. It's not about forcing results. It's about offering intention as a key, then trusting the field to respond. Try this. Tonight, instead of spiraling in mental noise, whisper to your mind, "Show me a way I haven't seen yet." Let it go. Let the hypnagogic state do what it was designed to do, receive and reorganize your internal frequency. The subconscious doesn't speak words, it speaks symbols. So be poetic, be direct, be vibrational. Ask for clarity, ask for courage, ask to remember the truth that's already inside you. In the final seconds before sleep, your soul listens louder than your mind ever did. Have you ever dreamed of someone who has passed and felt they were really there? Not a memory, not a fantasy, but a presence, a vibration, a message that stayed with you long after waking. What if those aren't just dreams? What if they're spiritual interactions in realms where time doesn't block love and consciousness doesn't forget its true family? When the body sleeps, the soul remembers. People from all cultures report the same. Dreams with mentors, ancestors, beings of light, and sometimes warnings or teachings they couldn't explain. They wake up changed, sometimes confused, but never untouched. Spiritual schools call this learning during the astral state. Some believe there are places, actual non-physical schools, where souls gather at night to learn what the mind can't grasp while awake. And if you've ever dreamed of being in class taking notes or hearing a voice that wasn't yours, maybe you've already been there. There are also people who've received information in dreams they had never studied, only to later find the same teachings in sacred texts or oral traditions. That's not chance, that's resonance. The field delivers what your frequency requests. Dreams don't always come from your mind, they come through it. And when the frequency is right, your field becomes receptive to higher transmissions. Some report receiving healing, others, forgiveness. Some just feel an overwhelming peace, like being held by something far greater than words can name. It's subtle, but unmistakable. And what about shared dreams? Two people reporting the same symbols, the same place. The same experience. Maybe it's not just weird. Maybe we meet where our frequencies overlap. So if the soul can travel, and other souls can too, is it possible we're never really sleeping alone? Want to decode the hidden signs in your dreams? Click the card now. Sometimes dreams don't feel like stories. They feel like warnings. You wake up shaken, sensing that what you saw wasn't fiction. And then, it happens. The same place, the same people, the same scene. That's not coincidence. That's a ripple through the timeline. When time bends, your soul whispers the future. Many people have dreamed of events before they unfolded, from deaths to disasters. It's called precognition, and it's not fantasy. It's frequency. Because in sleep, we step out of linear time and into the field. Physicist John Wheeler once said, "The future can affect the past." In quantum mechanics, the observer can influence what already happened. So why wouldn't your subconscious pick up on patterns not yet seen? Your dreams may be echoes, not of the past, but of what wants to emerge. Lucid dreams are not dreams. They're rehearsals in invisible reality. In them, you realize you're dreaming and can act, choose, reshape the narrative. Some even use them to explore parts of their own psyche with awareness. Others ask questions, and sometimes they get answers. Then there's synchronicity, a concept explored by Carl Jung. He believed that dreams and waking life are connected by symbolic bridges. A dream symbol may appear in your real day, triggering a strange déjà vu. That's not random. That's resonance across planes. Before sleep, set an intention. Tonight, I become aware within the dream. The more you repeat this, the more lucid you become in altered states. Lucidity opens the door to divine insights and personal revelations. You're not escaping reality. You're entering a deeper one. Some dreams feel brighter, clearer, or heavier than others for a reason. Pay attention to the vivid ones, especially if they come with emotion. Emotion is the stamp of truth. It's how your soul flags something important, and truth has its own timeline. So, are you just dreaming, or are you receiving signals from beyond the veil? Nobody likes a nightmare. You wake up breathless, confused, even afraid to go back to sleep. But what if these visions aren't punishments, but energy cleansing process? What if your subconscious, or your soul, is trying to show you what needs healing? Nightmares are not the enemy. They are encrypted messages from your inner universe. Science calls it the threat simulation theory, dreams preparing us for danger. But spiritual traditions go deeper. Nightmares are energetic mirrors. They reflect suppressed guilt, unresolved trauma, or fear stuck in your field. The monster you run from might be your own forgotten pain. Freud saw nightmares as repressed desires. Jung saw them as archetypes calling for integration. Both agreed on one thing: nightmares reveal what the mind tries to bury. When you're asleep, the mask falls. What's left is raw emotion in symbolic form. And every scream, chase, or shadow carries a key, if you dare to look. The thing that haunts your dream is often the thing you're ready to release. That's why facing a nightmare while dreaming can transmute it instantly. Lucid dreamers train for this, not to fight, but to witness without fear. The shadow dissolves when you stop running and simply ask, "What do you want me to see?" If recurring dreams keep returning, write them down, not to decode, but to notice patterns. Look at the emotions behind the image, not just the image itself. Sometimes the nightmare ends when you recognize its purpose. Awareness is the first act of energy transmutation. Some people report meeting terrifying entities in dreams, but when they shift their state, radiate calm, visualize light, the entire scene changes. Fear loses its form, the environment softens, and peace replaces panic. The field responds to your vibration, even in the dark. Your emotional state before sleep matters. Don't go to bed in chaos. Burn sage, breathe deep, repeat affirmations of safety. You create your landing space with your last thought. And sometimes the landing space is a battlefield. because something is being liberated. So, next time the dream turns dark, ask, is this fear? Or is this transformation disguised as fear? You think you're resting, but you're crossing. Each night you unplug from one realm and plug into another. Your body stops, but your consciousness shifts fields. You're not unconscious. You're just elsewhere. Dreams, silence, chaos, visions, all of it is feedback, messages encoded in frequency. The field speaks in symbols, and your soul, it never turns off. Now you know, sleep is a vehicle. Intention is the map. Emotion is the fuel. The universe doesn't need you awake, just aligned. Every night is a spiritual initiation. Those who understand this don't just sleep, they travel on purpose. They enter the night with reverence and wake up with memories most forget. Sleep isn't escape, it's evolution in disguise. You felt it. The field responds, the soul listens, the mind expands, and something inside you knows. This isn't imagination. It's a truth you've always carried, especially because it's invisible. If this journey stirred your heart or opened your mind, leave a comment now. What did you remember tonight? Your story might unlock someone else's awakening. Next time your eyes close, ask, where is my soul going tonight? No need to control, only to be present. The dream is yours, but the message might be for the world. And maybe this time you'll remember. If this touched something inside you, it's time to act with awareness. Subscribe and hit like. It helps keep this journey alive. Comment below. My sleep is a passage of power. Share this with someone who deserves to know what happens when the soul awakens in the dark. Now that you've seen the hidden power behind sleep, watch the next video where I reveal how to transmute inner patterns through vibrational alchemy. Your next level of expansion starts there.